This conference will now be recorded.
I want to thank everybody for joining us today via Zoom. Or I'm not sorry, it's not Zoom, it's GoToMeetings. I think that the issue of the Clay County Constitution is obviously a big one, and one that I think there's still a lot of education that might be able to be done on it on both sides before that November 3rd vote. So we appreciate you all showing up today just to let our committee know a little more about the charter, how it came about, and the pros and the cons of this particular issue. So with that, we can go ahead and get started. I don't know, David, were you going to go first, or Greg, or how did you guys want to do that?
I can go ahead and go.
Yeah, Greg's got this.
Okay.
That's just his backup.
I'm muting myself then.
All right, so I think a lot of you have heard about the Clay County Constitution, and it's the voters were supposed to vote in April, but the election got pushed back, and in June they approved the appointment of a Constitution Commission, and the Circuit Court of Clay County appointed 7 Democrats and 7 Republicans to draft a proposed constitution for the voters of Clay County. And I was a co-chair. I was elected co-chair by the body, as well as Craig Porter. I was the Democratic co-chair, and Craig Porter was the Republican co-chair. And we, for some of us on this committee, we've been at this for about 20 years. I think Jerry Brandt has been involved in Clay County government and trying to reform it since the 1970s. So we had a lot of experience, a lot of folks on there that care a great deal about the county. And have been witness over the years to tremendous amount of conflict in the county, and quite frankly, the circus atmosphere that has existed over there for, since my adult life in politics. We've had presiding commissioners thrown out of office, Western commissioner who is indicted for bribery. We've had Eastern commissioner who had his wages garnished. We've had auditors forced out of office. We've had a treasurer. It's just been a circus, and I think everybody on this call probably understands that. And so what we tried to do was to go out and figure out what is the best form of government that we can have for Clay County. And so we went out to the national organizations for counties and looked at their model constitution. We looked at constitutions and charters from all over the state of Missouri, looked at Johnson County, Wyandotte, tried to figure out, what are best practices? What could we do to remove some of the structural conflict from county government, and really try to bring the best document forward that the people could vote for. And we were able to get that done so that we could put it on the November ballot. It was important to us that a majority of Clay County voters vote on this issue. In the past, these votes have always been in special elections. I think in the last one, only 15,000 people voted. In the last presidential election, over 112,000 voted in Clay County. So we felt that it was important to get it on in November. We did. And recently it's been endorsed by the Clay County EDC, the Northland Regional Chamber of Commerce, and the Clay County mayors. And David Slater may speak to that later. He's head of the Clay County Mayors Organization in Clay County. And essentially what we tried to do was just take out some of the structural conflict and try to introduce professionalism into county government. And we looked at the political subdivisions around the county, school boards, city councils, hospitals, water districts. And what we found, we tried to see what works in those institutions and what doesn't, and then try to see what we could do with Clay County government. And so what we did is we came up with a proposal that would be that would require nonpartisan elections. We thought partisanship should be out of it. Requires term limits, allows for recall of office holders, puts restrictions on public debt, prohibits office holders from raising their own pay, prohibits commissioners from being hired by the county for 2 years. It introduces professional government with a county administrator that's required to live in the county and abide by a code of ethics, requires the county councilor to live in the county. We've experienced over $1 million in legal fees in the last year. That's crazy. And that's from office holders fighting with one another, and quite frankly, lawyers engaged to restrict public access to county government. We thought transparency was important, so we have provisions in there that does not allow for a county vote of commissioners that's not live fed to we require a live feed to the public. We put in a lot of structural changes, and we got 7 Democrats and 7 Republicans to vote unanimously. And quite frankly, we did it during the 2 weeks in which the national conventions were going on, and it didn't seem like anybody got along that was partisan. And yet we didn't have a single cross word. We didn't have a single knockdown drag out that left people. We worked in a consensus basis and try to come up with the best document we can. It expands the commission from 3 to 7 so that that 2 people can't hijack the commission in the future. It requires there to be 2, and essentially just basically extends what we already have, where you have Eastern and Western District, and now there'll be 2 people elected from each. There'll be 2 at-larges from each, and then there'll be a presiding commissioner, just like we have now. So basically, you'll get to vote for 5 of the 7 people that are on the county commission. We reduce their salary. They will be paid what a state rep is paid. Without the benefits, there will be no retirement benefits, and there'll be no benefits of any kind. We wanted to make sure that this was clearly a part-time job. And the presiding commissioner will get health care because we wanted to make sure that that was more of a full-time job. What we really wanted to do was make sure that we had professionally managed government. We think that one of the biggest problems that we have in Clay County is that we're the 5th largest county in the state of Missouri, and we do not have a regional presence, and we do not have a statewide presence. We rightfully should have those. We don't have a county government it's essentially not functional. There are no times when you've seen recently where county government has stepped forward and introduced an enormous project or to Clay County. When we have to deal, if you're a business and you're dealing with Johnson County or Clay County, which one would you want to deal with? And businesses read the paper, they look at the news, they see what type of circus we have in Clay County, and it hurts us. And it hurts us regionally, it hurts us statewide. And we thought that this is the best document that we could come up with. If it's not perfect, in 5 years we have a structure for a citizen review commission, and that citizen review commission can come in and recommend changes. And thereafter, every 10 years, just as we redistrict for Congress, state reps, and Senate districts, you'll have the ability to redistrict in Clay County. And at that time, there will always be a constitutional review commission set up to look at it to make sure that we have that if there are any changes that need to be made, they can. We thought it was important that the first one occur after 5 years, so that if people had changes that they wanted to see, there would be ample time to do that. We also have built into this a 2-year transition period, so that this will go into effect on January the 1st, 2021. But most of the offices won't change, and nothing will change for essentially 2 years, because there'll be a time period to redistrict and then allow people to file at the end of 2021 to run in 2022. So it'll be on the same schedule as state reps and state senators, and then they would take office in January of 2023. So that's essentially what we have. We think that we think we came up with the best document. We think we're going to have it on an election, a ballot, when the most people in the county will vote, and we look forward to the election. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Dick Davis, are you eliminating any county officers?
Well, we're going to hire the county clerk. So what we did was we set it up so that the public policy makers of the county, the people that we thought influence public policy, would be elected. So the commission should set policy for the county. We've expanded that so that people have more direct access and more of a say in that role. We left the auditor and the assessor elected. We think that there are some public policy aspects to those jobs, and then the sheriff and prosecutor. But we made them all nonpartisan, and the clerk, the collector, the recorder, and treasurer will be hired, and the public administrator will also be hired. And the way we dealt with that position is that the circuit court, since they so closely, well, they're always in front of the probate court, we allowed the circuit court to recommend someone to the county commission to hire. And if they do so, they'll hire that person. And what we try to do is those jobs that are ministerial in nature, those that just simply carry out public policy, that those should be hired. And so do those positions, are they eliminated? Well, I mean, someone's still going to collect taxes. I suspect Lydia McAvoy will still be there in 2023. I suspect that, you know, there's going to be somebody recording deeds, and that'll probably be, I mean, the staff, even when you have changes in elections, the staff usually remains. So the functions will still continue to be there, but it allows for some efficiency. It allows for better budgeting. We have provisions in there related to the budgets, but we think it becomes a more efficient system, and it prohibits. We're trying to take out structural conflict. We think that this. I mean, some people may think that we left too many people elected, but the fact is that we think that this is a great balance, and it reflects more of the city council and school board structures of government in the county that don't seem to have the same conflict that we've had in county government. So that's kind of the background of where we are, and we will have an election on November the 3rd, and I hope this passes. And so I'll be happy to answer any other questions.
One more related to that: the appointed, say, administrators like the clerk. Does that person serve at the disposal of the county commission? Can they terminate and replace?
Ultimately, the county commission, as the public policy setting board, is going to make that determination. Yes.
Good, good.
Now the county administrator, we have built, I mean, county administrator is going to professionally manage the government, and so they have a role. They will always have a role in who they hire and fire, but ultimate authority will rest in the county commission when it comes to that.
How about his second or third? Can the county commission does he serve at the disposal of the county commission?
Well, we do not want the county commission getting involved in, you know, hiring some manager in the public works department, right? That's not.
No, I'm talking about the county administrator, the second or third one.
They will hire the county administrator and have the ability to fire the county administrator. And we suspect that the county administrator will be under contract. I mean, they're required to abide by a code of ethics. We have.
So very much like a city manager.
Yes, I would think it looks more like, look at the Gladstone City Council or the Liberty City Council, something like that.
Sounds good.
Okay. Sorry I was a little late joining. This is Ed Lineber. Why don't we now hear from Lydia and hear the other side, and then if we've got questions, we'll have a question and answer time afterwards. So, Lydia.
Thanks, Ed. And I want to clarify, I'm not really on the other side. I'm on the other side of this particular document. Never have been on the other side of thinking that Clay County might be an appropriate size and complexity for charter government. It just seems like every time the document comes out, there's something in it that is dangerous for the people. So to play off of your question, Dick, about the offices that are eliminated. So they are eliminated in the form that they exist right now, which is independently elected. And the concern that I have with that is, you know, let's think back over the last couple of years. And really, I want to focus this whole thing on the last 6 years, 6 to 8, depending on your perspective, that have brought us to this point. And the circus is definitely there. And I mean, watching the presidential debate the other night, it was starkly interesting to me how much it looked like a Clay County Commission meeting. I mean, yes, it's been a disaster. We're pointing the gun in the wrong direction. I hope we're not pointing a gun at all, but I mean, we're pointing the remedy in the wrong direction. All those things that Greg recounted that have happened over the past however many years, so many of them were commissioners. Very few of them, or a smaller percentage, much smaller percentage, were the office holders, and not any in recent memory. I've been in office for 10 years, and we've had very few arguments between offices. As a matter of fact, it's quite inaccurate to say that the millions spent on attorneys was office holders fighting with each other. That's actually not a true statement. It has been the commission fighting efforts at oversight brought out by the people. They've fought transparency, they've fought sunshine law, they have fought the state audit, they have fought the city of Kansas City on permits at the annex. They fought everything that the people were trying to get better government. And that's been 2 out of 3, basically, commissioners fighting tooth and nail to get what they want. And so now suddenly we're turning around and consolidating, which is true, they're not eliminating, because we're still going to have to collect taxes, but consolidating under those same people, more of them, but that same group, the power. And if you think back to what the clerk was able to do just in the last few years, and calling out the destruction of documents and bringing that to people's attention, and the treasurer was able to stand up, against the bond issue, and okay, I can tell you this. So the collector has not had a dog in the fight in a lot of the recent things, and so I have tried to remain, as neutral as possible. But here's the other thing: I already have pressure to remain as neutral as possible because I have to run an office in a county where administrative people have the absolute power over my office. And if I say something wrong at the wrong place, I won't have the support I need to do my job. And I no longer can go to the commission and get it. And I used to be able to. And so it's already difficult around here to call things out and stand up what needs to be done without running the risk of me being a collector having to look at a taxpayer and saying, I'm sorry that I can't do the job I was elected to do because I've been limited by administrative people that are not providing me the support that I need. And that has absolutely happened to multiple offices at various times, and not trying to disparage the current people because I still have a tax season to do and I appreciate the support that they're giving me. But I'm just telling you, that's already been a factor, and I'm independently elected and I ran unopposed last time. So the people of Clay County are happy with me, and I still feel that pressure. So I cannot imagine if I were directly employed by the commission or by this all-powerful county administrator, which, by the way, as far as I understand the document, and I don't want to say something inaccurate, the county commission will not have hiring and firing authority over the individual offices. The county administrator will, and the county administrator can only be removed with a supermajority of the commission. So there is a step of removal there before, like, an individual office holder that wasn't, or an individual administrative department head that wasn't doing their job. The policy holders would have a circuitous route to get to actually getting rid of that person. So I just really urge, this extends a lot of what we currently are having problems with without thinking about just a closer remedy that would have solved the problem. Recall is super popular with the people of Clay County. And definitely as an elected official, I would be very comfortable facing that as my authority over, if I do something wrong, that would be the power of the people. And right now the people can't do that except for every 4 years. So that would hold me more accountable. It's a great thing. Nonpartisan, some people disagree, some people agree. I've worked with some excellent Democrats, I've worked with some crazy Republicans. It's all good. We just do our jobs. But I think that's also another point. I'm not going to say what category anybody is in, but Kathy Reinhardt has been the assessor for the entire time I've been in office. She and I could not be more different politically and sometimes even personally. And we have worked together like no two office holders, especially in these two positions, have worked together in Clay County history, especially with the amount that we have to work together. We figured it out, and we have worked together very, very well for the benefit of the people of Clay County. Why did we do that? Because I cared and she cared. Good people make good government. I mean, we just did it. It didn't matter our politics. So I feel like we are taking away the remedy that the people have, that they're just about to exercise. At that same time they're voting for the charter, we're throwing out 2 out of 3 commissioners. They didn't even bother to run again. There will be a different commission in 2021. And it's been too long coming, but if we had the power of recall, we could have gotten it sooner and we would have surgically fixed the problem that was the problem instead of consolidating power. I have to say that from my personal perspective, it is terrifying to think what the last 6 years would have been like if we were all personally employed by the commission and had, or by an administrator that is employed by the commission and had to look at the potential of losing our jobs completely in order to speak out. I think a lot of people would not have spoken out, and a lot of things that were known to the public through various means would not have been said or would not have been known. Specifically the clerk. I mean, that, you know, and I advocate for my office as well, but I mean, the clerk has an unbelievable ability to see what the commission is doing. I don't get to see what the commission is doing. She's able to see it, and she has spoken up strongly. The treasurer has spoken up strongly, you know, and these are these positions. And then here's the deal. I, as the collector, so I have stayed independent, which means in the meantime, while this circus has been going on, the school districts, the cities have gotten their money because they actually can't mess with me statutorily in a lot of ways. And that's protections that were built in by the state legislature. I get to sit down here on the second floor, keep my head down and do my job. And if they had direct authority over my office, then when craziness went on the third floor, it could actually affect revenue to the taxing jurisdictions. To me, the county is a tiny little taxing jurisdiction that barely gets any money from my office. I am here to protect outside entities. And so I am already statutorily protected. And to have my office underneath the power of the commission could be very dangerous to the EDC, to the cities, to broad things going on in the county, because now they can mess with the revenue going to school districts and cities. You know, I've been able to stay rather independent. All the budgets that have been cut over the last few years, they're not allowed by state law to cut my budget. Why? So that I can get the money out to the school districts that needs to happen. So we already have a lot of these protections, and I just feel like this takes a step too far in eliminating the 5 offices. The other thing I just have to keep harping on is, and again, you know, Greg outlined all the wonderful things about this document. And as he was going along, every single one of them is either a positive check mark in my book or at least a neutral check mark in my book. Yes, recall, term limits, you know, basic qualifications, things like that. Excellent, nonpartisan, things like that. They're all decent. And if the people of Clay County want them and they are told that that's what they're voting for, then we are good to go. Nowhere in the ballot language does it say that 5 elected offices will no longer be elected. And I've heard that apparently, well, we can't say that because it would be advocacy. No, everything that you tell people is happening in the document has to be a fact, has to be true. So why are you telling them 9 facts and not telling them the 10th fact? And it's because universally, a lot of people in Clay County didn't want their independent office holders eliminated, especially after the last 6 years when they saw the protections that were offered by the people that were able to speak up. And I cannot even express to you, especially without getting myself in more trouble, how difficult it is to decide when to speak up already right now in this county because of the amount of power that has been consolidated under administrative departments. It used to be when I was first in office, if I had a problem, I went straight to the commission. And you know what? There were some commissioners that didn't even like me. And we got it figured out. I got what I needed to do what I needed for the people of Clay County. They pushed back. I went to them. You know, we figured it out. And something good was done for the people of Clay County because the commission was a remedy to me. The commission is not available to me anymore. They just aren't. We're not even allowed to talk. You can't get anything on the agenda. There's just no way for me to go directly to the commission and say, fix this. I'm trying to serve the people of Clay County and I can't. They just won't do it. And then I'm nobody else to go to except the administrative departments. And sometimes they do wonderful things and sometimes they don't. And I'm stuck either way. So just consolidating more things under administrative departments will actually lead to lack of transparency, lack of the ability to know what's going on. It's very important that records and documents flow from office to office to office, because while you can say that that's inefficient, and that can be true, it also makes it very difficult for fraud or lacks of transparency or hiding things to survive. So that lack of efficiency is also what's called checks and balances. So there's nothing wrong with trying to do better, but throwing out the checks and balances is extremely dangerous. So I think those are my main points. Oh, I had something written down about big projects. Oh, something saying that, no big projects in the last few years have been put forward by the office holders is also not true. Just saying. Office holders have worked really hard. I've made a lot of improvements in my office. I know David Slater, mayor of Pleasant Valley, knows that I took on city collections. I just did that myself. I didn't have to ask anybody else except talk to the cities. It's fine. I'm just saying, I just had to talk to the cities and say, is this what you want? And then I was able to move forward. I had to have contracts that had to be approved by the commission. That actually went extremely smoothly my first 2 years in office. Wouldn't even be able to consider doing something like that right now. Would not happen. And it's not because of the office holders, it's because of the commission. And we're getting rid of the commission. And if this document was only expanding the size of the commission so that we no longer had these 2-to-1 things, that's definitely something that would have been very popular. But that's not the only thing that it's doing. It's expanding the size of the commission and then still making it so that everything is under administrative departments. So that's my 2 cents. Respect everybody on this call, respect everybody and their effort that they put into this, but that particular element is extraordinarily dangerous. One other little thing to think about is that Jean and Luann put this effort out originally. Now, with all due respect, 14 people came up with an individual document, and I am not accusing them of anything. They did a good independent job, but it was Jean and Luann's idea to put this out, and they will be in office for 60 more days after it passes. So there's a very interesting question about that and about what is going to happen to things that need to be unwound from the past 6 years when we have 60 days where you have lame duck commissioners in office knowing what's coming next and knowing that the default, which is that a new commission can absolutely flip everything on its head, always has been able to, always has, now won't necessarily be able to, and definitely only has a couple years moving forward before the entire structure of government is changed. How many things are going to get baked in? It's speculative, but it's an interesting question to me that Jean and Luann put it on in such a time that it can be passed while they still have 60 days in office. So that's all I have. If anybody has questions, be happy to answer them. I hate to be in a anti position. I respect you all, but those are my thoughts.
Well, first of all,
Thank you very much.
Look, it's very simple. If you like the way Clay County government's been run, vote against it. If you want to change, you want to do something that allows Clay County to take its place, its rightful place as a first-class county, as a regional leader, as a leader in the state, and this is how you get there. I think we listened to Lydia for a long time, and I think that she expresses the opinion of a lot of people in that courthouse, and I think that is certainly a segment of the population. I think it's pretty much limited to the courthouse and to the friends of the people in the courthouse. I think that it's not true that it's just Jean and Luann, and I think that this helicopter conspiracy stuff about Jean and Luann, I started the petition drive in 1990 or 1999, I believe, for a county constitution. Some of us have been working with this for 20 years, and to suggest that somehow 2 commissioners have an inordinate amount of influence just takes us right back to the place where we are, which is just one faction fighting another. And when I'm talking about big projects, I'm talking about the fact that the Legends is not located in Clay County. I'm talking about the fact that when they try to determine whether or not where they're going to put the American Royal, Clay County is not considered. When they try to put the new Cerner down at Bannister, Clay County was not considered. Why is that? Why is it that Clay County, which should be, it's the 5th largest county in the state, we should be having all kinds of positive projects in our county. Where's our corporate woods? Where's our Class A office space? How much time has been spent in that courthouse on those things? That the county could be a tremendous asset to this community. And Liberty and Gladstone and Kearney and Smithville and Pleasant Valley, they can't on their own lead the county. And Kansas City has so many conflicting, they also have to deal with Jackson County and Platte County and Cass County. The Clay County government should be the one that's in the position to lead. And if you look at the history of Clay County in the last 30 years, it hasn't been just 2 commissioners. It's always somebody up there. Just ask yourself this. Look at the city of Liberty, look at the city of Gladstone, look at Pleasant Valley. How often are they suing each other? How often do we elect the clerk of Pleasant Valley? No. Do we elect the clerk of Liberty? No. Do we elect the auditor of Gladstone? No. Nobody is clamoring for us to change the charter of the city of Liberty to elect our city treasurer. Just no one's doing that. They want professionally run government. That's what people want out of Clay County. I don't have a dog in the
Mr.
fight
Knudsen?
to the actual commissioners. I like them all.
Mr. Knudsen?
Yeah.
Mr. Knudsen, it's not a debate. This platform is really to be educational for the folks that we have on this call, and I want to make sure I'm clear about that. I'd like to open it up now for some questions from the audience and allow that conversation to be had. This is not a debate. It truly is about educating folks about what's going on. So I really would like to make sure that we continue that. Thank you.
Hey, this is
Do we
Dick
have any
Davis.
questions from the group?
This is Dick Davis. Can I ask that everybody
Yes.
that speaks identify themselves first so we know who's talking?
Sorry about that, Dick. That was Ed Lineber. I just
Good. It just would be helpful. We knew who was talking.
Yes, sir.
This is Tammy Henderson, and it's more clarifications than anything else. The County of Clay actually has the most authority over all those people who don't live in cities. And so I guess part of my question is, how is a change in government going to affect what's going on in the cities? Because I know Mr. Knudsen brought up the idea of the legends and all that stuff. I've been around long enough to know back then, I don't think Clay County really wanted there were a lot of groups that I know Platte County, they didn't want the legends. They didn't want the speedway. They wanted the residual hotel stays and all that stuff, but they didn't want the rest of it. I'm kind of presuming that a lot of times when we haven't gotten a big project, it's because it really hasn't had that much to do with the county, because they don't, other than administering things for out in the county, what direct impact do they have on the cities?
Well,
Tammy,
first,
you make a really good point. Actually, I was thinking about with the economic development, again, they don't have that much impact. I've sat on the Clay County TIF commissions and those kinds of things, and we basically have a pretty minor voice. But not only, if they did, it comes from the commission. So again, expanding the commission and doing things like that so that the commission works more functionally, not a bad idea. It doesn't come from the other offices. But here's the other thing. For me, in my office, which is an office that's going to be eliminated in favor of an administrative office, the cities are they are who I care about. They're who I work for all day, every day, much more than the county. And I think that's true of the assessor. That's true of the treasurer. A lot of the things that the clerk does. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that in some ways, the county doesn't have that much impact. So you're right. But if they do, it's the commission. So why are we eliminating the other offices? And then us smaller offices, or ministerial, whatever you want to call us, we actually do a lot of work that affects the cities. So we're kind of touching on the group that we're eliminating or consolidating the groups that do potentially assist the cities. And you're exactly right. Those huge projects could not have been brought here without cities participating. Cities would have had to allow that. A lot of that would have come at the city level.
well, that
Thank you,
that
Ms.
is,
McAvoy.
that is true that cities are involved. However, there is as we sit here today, there is no leadership in this county that is countywide. And the reason for that is because we are a circus. We're the laughing stock in the state. Everywhere in Jefferson City you go, you mention Clay County, and they think that we're a joke. If you look at our region, when they're making decisions for their region, Clay County does not have an appropriate amount or proportional amount of influence. And the reason for that is because every time you open up the paper, every time you watch TV, Clay County is embroiled in another fight. And yes, in the last 3 years, it's been mostly the commission against the sheriff. That's not been true for the last 30 years. Sometimes it's been the presiding commissioner, sometimes it's been the sheriff, sometimes it's been the prosecutor, sometimes it's been the eastern commissioner, the western commissioner, it's been the treasurer. it's been the clerk, not our current clerk, but in the past it's been a clerk. There was a clerk, an auditor that was forced from office or be indicted, treasurer that was thrown out because he was a convicted felon, pled guilty to a felony. I mean, look, it's very simple. If you like the way things are going, fine. But if you want to have a county that is seen in the region as a leader, you know, I don't agree with you that the county hasn't gotten projects because it doesn't want them. If you don't want Class A office space, if you don't want good jobs up here, if you don't want high tech up here, if you don't want a higher education research facility, all things that the Clay County EDC has been pushing, we would like to have a partner in county government. And we can't have that because of all the fighting. If we could have that, we could then make those decisions for ourselves whether we want those. But I think every group that I have spoken to wants us to make those opportunities available to Clay County. And we haven't seen those things. We were not considered for the Cerner 15,000 jobs and what was it, $2 billion investment down at Bannister. We were not considered for that. We were not considered for any Class A office space recently. I mean, that's just a fact. And you know, if you like that, if you like the way things are going, we can keep it up. But we're providing everybody an opportunity to do something that is what we think is the most modern, best practices county constitution that we have in the state, and use models from around the country. And so, you know, I think, you know, Lydia keeps bringing up dangerous, you know, as if something is dangerous about changing the form of government to something that aligns with best practices. What's dangerous for the county is to continue what we're doing. This county is going to develop. The only question is, are we going to have waffle shacks from Liberty to Zona Rosa? Or are we going to have good jobs? And are we going to have great amenities for our communities? And right now, if you go up to that courthouse, no one is concentrating on that. They're just concentrating on fighting with one another. And frankly, I haven't met a single person that's not either in county government or has a friend in county government that has been against this.
Greg, if I could just clarify one thing.
Thank you, Mr. Knudsen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you. The reason I keep using the word dangerous is because of my personal experience over the last 6 years. And what is dangerous is continuing what's happening, which is taking an administrative people and putting them in charge and squelching the voice of
Don't say that. They're not in charge. They're not.
Hold on. I want to make sure that we're being educational here and not debatable.
Okay.
Let's keep this pretty clean. I think it's much more important that we get the information out to these folks so we can make good decisions and share with others what the decisions we're going to make are. So let's keep that kind of clear. Are there any other questions from the group for one or the other? And if you would just specify who you'd like to have answer it first, then we'll go back and forth, okay?
Absolutely.
Thank you for your question, Tammy. By the way, this is Ed Linever-Dick.
This is Deb Herman. Could someone tell me how the districts will be divided? We have appreciated great support from Clay County. Lydia's office has been wonderful to NNI, but we struggle continually to get attention for the southern half of, or southern portion of Clay County, where we have the most of the population, I believe, but also most of the problems.
Well, the redistricting.
Thank you, Deb.
If you're just asking about the redistricting, we're essentially keeping. We try to not make very many changes in the structure of the commission, so that people could understand that we're not having wholesale something that people couldn't understand. So we're keeping the eastern and western districts the same, but obviously with the census, those districts will change to align with constitutional mandates related to offices and making sure that districts are as close to equal as they can. So I mean, that's the short answer. The longer answer is, you have population growth in the northern part from basically 152 on up, and that is really something that's not going to change. But the redistricting will only occur every 10 years, just like state reps, state senators, and Congress.
So it's essentially,
Thank you.
Deb, it does a lot of what's currently the same. And so, Ed, I am trying 100% not to be combative. So from an educational perspective, I would invite each one of you to think about what it is you don't like about Clay County government right now, and then read the document from that perspective, because the things that changes are probably not the things that are on your list, and the things that keeps the same might be things that are on your list. It keeps the same makeup of the commission as far as your representation in the southern half of the county. There will be the same, and except that some of the people that are supposed to represent the Western District will be voted countywide. They will be at large. So it is quite possible that they will get votes from the other half of the county and yet be in name supposed to be representing the Western District. What could happen is they get the votes all from the rest of the county. So there are a lot of things that are actually the same. Consolidating power under administrative departments and those kinds of things are staying the same. And then what is being eliminated are things that possibly some of you think are working. So that's my thought.
Thank you.
And my concern is
Thank
that
you, Deb.
we elect people have absolutely no business doing that job. I mean, what's our treasurer's accounting background? Do we have qualifications to file for office? No. And with the professional administrator, they're going to hire people. So we don't have to elect people to hire people to do the job they were elected to do. So,
But David, the people that are doing the job are making $140,000 a year and that were hired by those people are also not qualified. There's no qualifications in this document. I would have loved a document that required some basic qualification for the jobs. It doesn't.
well, I thought that's what the professional administrator would do. I mean, when I hire
Well,
people,
we've got professional administrators right now with very thin resumes.
but they're not required to go through the licensing, the whatever. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but they were appointed by the commission. The current commission appointed them.
But they don't have to meet national standards like this new one will, according to the document.
Only the county administrator has to meet those standards. There's no standards for the collector, for the treasurer, and there should be, but
Sure.
there aren't. The document doesn't do that.
Right, but if I'm the professional administrator able to hire and fire, if somebody's out of line, I can let them go. Right now, I have to wait 4 years to get them reelected.
Which is why recall is a good idea.
No, and I do appreciate
Okay.
that. I do
Appointing
appreciate it.
does not guarantee qualifications. That definitely that is a true fact currently in Clay County, is all I'm saying.
And I do appreciate the fact that you collect city taxes. That's been great for everybody.
All good.
Thank you. I tried to get that long before you were involved, so.
Oh.
Thank you. And you probably keep
All right,
your
any other
job.
questions for the group? We've got about 13 more minutes. Are there any other good questions for this group?
This is Paul Macho. I'm a Northland constituent. My question is, where can I find the most recent proposed Clay County Constitution document?
David, do you have his email address? Can you just send it to him?
Wasn't it just published in the paper, Greg? I think it had to be, right? And it was.
Yeah, Star, but
It was published in the Star yesterday, but I don't know if I've got your email address or not, but I'd be glad to send it to Northland neighbors so they can blast it out.
Thank you.
Would that work?
Yes, we will do that. If you
Yes,
could,
thank
I'll
you.
send it out. Thank you.
The
Yeah.
version I've found is from November of 2019.
that's
No.
not it.
Okay.
Thank you.
David will get that to you.
I'll get it to you.
The main thing, just everybody read it. If you want to vote for it, if you think it's a terrible, dangerous document, then don't vote for it. Maybe you think it brings professional government to Clay County and in some of the circus atmosphere, vote for it. I'm going to wake up on November the 4th and be just fine either way. So, I hope that everybody votes for it, but I like Lydia too. And if she's our collector 3 years from now, I'm going to live with that too. So.
I've done a good job for 10 years,
Well,
and I might wake up on November 4th facing termination. Just saying. but
All right.
that's not, it's
Thank
not
you
personal.
all for
today.
today. That's great. Any other questions for the group?
I may make a comment, Dick Davis. Greg, I think the most impressive thing I've heard is that you found a way to eliminate the three-person disaster. That's critical. The other thing I've heard, and Lydia, I'm impressed. I'm a Democrat that's impressed with the job you're doing, but I also think that the great majority of people in our county have no idea what a good collector does. The fact that we've got a good one is just luck, not a matter of the.
I hate to say how
I
much
like
that's
it.
possibly true.
So I understand your comments, but I think they're more based on the fact that we've got a good collector, and who knows whether the next one is going to be, we're going to be that lucky next time.
I hear you.
Well, I want to thank.
I'd like to make announcements.
Yes.
One of the things that is most important, and I think everyone here could agree, is that we get Northlanders out to vote. We are distributing, if we can get some help, to vote Northland Strong signs again right before the election. These are not partisan or take a anywhere. If we can get people out to vote. We all know that it hurts us everywhere we go that we have such low voter turnout. Two other announcements. On the 6th of October from 1 to 4, Ford Motor Company will be at NNI distributing free masks. If you know anybody that needs masks, you need a mask. It'll be drive-through. It'll be very safe. Please participate in that and get the word out. The third thing is that on the 21st of October at 2 o'clock, the Chief of Police from Kansas City will be having a virtual town hall. We will be getting, we can get that information. It is out, but we can get it out to you if you don't have it.
Yep.
He's very concerned about cuts to the police department in Kansas City. And with that, if especially, this is for Kansas City only in Clay County, but we are still distributing CARES dollars for mortgage and rent assistance. So those are lots of things going on. We appreciate your time.
Go
Yeah, if I
Chiefs.
can make an announcement. Tomorrow morning at 10, they have the grand opening of the Regional Law Enforcement Memorial. For those who gave all, it's at 6801 Northeast Pleasant Valley Road. And Councilwoman Heather Hall was an emphasis behind all that. She did a great job quarterbacking that deal. So if you got free time tomorrow at 10, it'll be a good ceremony.
Dick Davis again. Deb, just wanted to say I think it's great that we've got this on the agenda today. I have been just surprised at the complete absence of information about this issue.
Well, as we all know, if you live in Kansas City North, you don't have a local newspaper.
That's
We
true.
don't get the Dispatch, the Clay Sun is gone, and the Kansas City Star more and more
It's gone.
doesn't seem to think that the metro expands north. We get very little news.
Sad but true.
You're welcome.
Unfortunately, the Kansas City Star isn't providing a whole lot of news for south of the river either. It's kind of.
I think my husband's called it McPaper for a long time.
Yeah.
I think he's about right.
2 days late.
I think
Almost
slow
2 days
down.
ago. All right.
Thank you all.
Thank
Well, with
you.
that, thank everyone.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you too.